Alright, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to another video here on the channel, and today we're going to be talking about the Gerard Completionist charity scandal, because that's a pretty big deal, and I mean, it's been something that everyone, it seems like at this point, is kind of talking about, because, I mean, this is a pretty significant situation, right? This isn't just some, YouTuber controversy drama, right? This isn't just this person made a mean tweet. This is, someone being accused of grossly mismanaging like hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of charity funds that were donated over years, and the whole thing, honestly, is just pretty sad to see, because really this is all also coming from somebody that is pretty well viewed in the community. It's not like this is just like a scumbag creator. We don't have like a EDP445 or somebody to be pointing the finger at here today. This is all happening surrounding Gerard from the Completionist, and that's primarily who it is. Obviously, there are a few other people who are probably tied to the charity, but most of the criticism, obviously, has went towards the Completionist, Gerard, because these are, the people who, that's like the face of the whole thing, right? That guy, he's pretty much the face of this whole charity, and all of the, like, public videos and whatnot, and all of the promos for it, and all these different things. He's the one showing up in it all. So, for those of you who don't know, Gerard, or the Completionist, has been working on a charity for almost a decade at this point, actually. Basically, this open hand charity is now being accused of like holding / some people are saying pocketing the $600,000 in donations that it's received over the years. Before we even go any further into the video, to clarify, the Gerard / the Completionist, nobody affiliated with this charity, from our knowledge, has actually like taken the money from the charity and like put it in their own account or like spent any of the money. It's just basically been sitting in this charity's bank account for all this time. So Mudahar and Carl Jobst uploaded videos, I believe yesterday or the day before now, where they just started, digging in, really, to this charity and to its tax filings, the public paperwork and numbers for the whole thing and whatnot. And they found some pretty massive red flags and discrepancies in the paperwork and whatnot that caused them to upload these videos, and obviously the whole thing has just hit like wildfire now. I mean, everyone's talking about it. Mainstream media's talking about it. Everyone on Twitter's talking about it. It's just insane. So this charity was supposed to be raising money for things like dementia, which is even more insane because in some of the videos and like the fundraisers and whatnot for this charity, Gerard uses an example of like his own mother, and these people are using examples of their own family members who've struggled with dementia and whatnot as examples of like why they're doing this, why they're wanting this money to be donated. Basically like this is supposed to be in honor of them or whatever, right? Like imagine you had a family member or something with cancer, and then you want to raise a bunch of money for cancer awareness, right? Now obviously I understand this pretty well because I have done fundraisers through all my YouTube content for years, and this whole situation has just kind of shown why I think that's the best way for YouTubers to do these kinds of charity events. Because I mean, like for instance, all of my videos, right, you'll see the little fundraiser on the side. Most of the time now it's for like veterans or whatever. I've done them for all kinds of different things. Basically, if you donate money to that, the money never touches my hands, right? Like YouTube covers all the processing and transaction fees. They take your money directly from you. They process it right to the charity that the money is supposed to be donated to. The money doesn't go into an account that I control. The money doesn't go into my, YouTube revenue and then get split. Nothing, right? It just goes directly out of my control straight to them, right? So I've done that for years. We've raised tens of thousands of dollars as a community here doing things like that, right? And I think that that's the best way for creators, and this is a good example why. So it's created a massive controversy now where, there's mostly people being critical, right? Because they've seen the evidence, they saw the proof and whatnot. It's not like Mudahar and Carl Jobst came with no proof or no evidence or anything here. They seemingly went through all of the paperwork, and truth be told, they were a lot more neutral than they could have been in this whole process, right? Like I watched all of Mudahar's video, part of Carl's video now, and it doesn't seem like this is something they're taking enjoyment out of doing. Like they're like enjoying the fact that they're seeing all these discrepancies in this, right? They more or less, if anything, seem very disappointed. And I mean, how couldn't you be? This is just gross mismanagement at the very best. So people were donating money to this open hand charity as far back as like 2014, man. And they've been donating all these years. There's been fundraisers, all kinds of different things, right? And over all these years, they have basically amassed hundreds of thousands of dollars in donations to this nonprofit tax-free charity 501c3 that they founded, okay? Now, I don't know how it works in other countries, but here in the United States, if you create like a nonprofit tax-free organization for a charity, right? Obviously, you still have to file all the yearly tax paperwork and whatnot that kind of shows what you're doing with it, right? Like, hey, our charity got $100,000 this year. We spent $15,000 paying our employees and in operating expenses. We donated $80,000, right? Like that's how it's supposed to look, because obviously the government wants to know, if you're running a tax-free organization especially, that you're not just dicking them and everybody else over. So Mudahar and Carl went through years of the public IRS filings, which you yourself can actually go look up and read through yourself if you don't believe Mudahar or my coverage on this whole thing, right? And when you look through all of the different paperwork and you see everything, it's not well done. I mean, that's a very, very good way to put it. So throughout the years, they've amassed about $600,000 worth of donations, and not $1 has ever been sent anything for any charitable cause, right? All of the money has essentially been sitting in the charity's like bank account or whatever, that I'm assuming the Completionist and whoever else is affiliated with the charity at the top has direct access to. It's basically just been sitting in a bank account that this guy offhandedly technically owns through legal paperwork, right? So, I mean, I shouldn't have to explain why this is wrong and why people are pissed. I mean, let's say you walk up to Walmart, right, and they have those Salvation Army guys out front during Christmas time, and they're like, hey, we're donating money to sick kids or whatever, and you're like, okay, here's $10. Now, if you found out that the $10 you gave that guy went into his private charity's bank account and just sat there for like 8 or 9 years and was never donated or done anything with, you probably would be pretty fucking mad, because you didn't give the money to this charity for it to sit inside of a fucking bank account, right? So they're literally just hanging on to all of this money that they've gathered over the years. They've never donated a single fucking dollar of it. There's never been a single dollar of it spent on anything other than expenses and operating costs. The whole paperwork is just terrible. And I mean, this is IRS tax filings too. So this is like top serious, top level shit. You don't screw with these guys, right? So the IRS is now aware of the situation. People have reported the charity because of all of the red flags. And I mean, it's very clear that they don't have a professional accountant, or like the professional accountant that they've hired is not good at their job, because they can't even do basic taxes. I mean, this company, as Mudahar in depth went into, one year claimed $27,000 in like expenses, okay? And it's literally just described in quotations as expenses. Now, I know many of you have never like filed business writings or like business taxes or like organizational taxes or whatever, but when you write down expenses and shit like that to the IRS, or like you're trying to itemize your deductions or whatever it may be, you have to be as specific as possible. You don't just write, oh, we spent $37,000 on expenses. That's not how that works. Any accountant or anyone with any knowledge of that kind of situation worth their salt would be itemizing everything they spent money on, okay? So we had $27,000 in expenses. Well, we paid $9,000 for, the lease on the property that we run out of. We spent $3,000 coordinating trips and whatnot for fundraisers. You're supposed to break all of these things down. Like when I'm itemizing shit for my business, I don't get to just write, oh, $7,000 in expenses. I have to, tell the IRS, oh, I spent $2,500 on computer upgrades so I can edit better and faster and quicker. I bought a new microphone so I can record better audio with it, right? Like that's how that works. You don't just go, hey, guys, we had some expenses. We had to spend some money, and yeah, it's expenses. And so the craziest part about all this is how many people are actually trying to fucking defend this. And that's the insane part to me. These guys have literally just been taking people's money for years and just putting it in essentially a bank account and just letting it fucking sit there. They're not doing anything with it, and you're donating money under the idea that money right now is going to help dementia and whatever else, right? But it's just sitting in a fucking bank account, and it has been sitting in a bank account since Obama was president, right? So there are, though, people who are, I feel like, either grossly misunderstanding the situation and the gravity of it, or they're just being blatantly dishonest or stupid. But I've seen a couple just wild defenses, right? And I'm just going to come out and say it. This shit would not be happening if this was a disgraced creator. Like, a lot of people like Gerard, they like the Completionist, and so I feel like they don't want to actually go that hard on him. They don't want to call him out for what actually has taken place here because, you know, they think he's a good guy or whatever. If this was Sniper Wolf or EDP445 or any fucking YouTuber, really, who's been disgraced and, you know, has ruined their reputation, they would not be getting the same level of generosity that this guy is getting right now for doing the same fucking thing. They'd be getting called thieves, they'd be, you know, being called for their careers, everything, right? So one of the defenses I've seen, it's funny, because Pro Jared actually tweeted this out before he had to delete it because he got fucking destroyed by everybody, but you know, he was on there making the claim like, oh, Muto and these guys really made this video, and they didn't even reach out to Gerard to talk to him and see if any of this was true. Now, the reason why Pro Jared looks like a fucking moron for saying this is because if he even watched like half of Mudahar's 30-minute video, he would have seen the call that takes place between them and Gerard in it, where Gerard is just like, oh, what am I supposed to do, you know? We couldn't find anyone to donate the money to who was good. Yeah, that's not how charity works, bud. If you can't find somebody to donate the money to, fucking refund it. I don't know. There's like 9 different options that could have happened here that didn't involve you just sitting the money in a bank account for years and doing fucking nothing with it. Could have refunded the money, could have just simply donated the money like he said he was going to, could have put in more work to try and find some suitable people to donate the money to, could have asked all the people who've donated already for their help in finding some place to donate the money to. I mean, to just sit there and pretend like, well, we had no option is just, it's fucking pathetic and it's dishonest. So, Pro Jared ended up deleting that tweet because he looked fucking dumb. And then there was another one I saw earlier. I'm not even gonna fucking show the guy's name on screen because I'm pretty certain it's either like engagement bait or he's just that stupid. But he was basically saying that, oh, over the last few years we went from no YouTubers ever being held accountable to now quote unquote knock off Keemstar found weird paperwork. Better cancel Gerard's bloodline. So he calls Mudahar knockoff Keemstar. Mudahar, honestly, I feel like gave all the benefit of the doubt that he could to Gerard and the people running this charity. I mean, it's very clear he didn't take any pleasure in having to do this, you know? It wasn't like he was sitting there reveling in the fact that he was fucking coming at this guy for this and exposing all this paperwork. He seemed quite disappointed. Some ordinary gamers in Drama Alert do not run the same. I don't hate either of the guys, you know, I like Mudahar, I like Keemstar or whatever, but to compare the two is just dishonest and disingenuous. And it's funny that he says found some weird paperwork, as if that's not federal government tax filings that have went back a fucking decade. Like, yeah, good job using your brain on that one, buddy. You're not a complete fucking moron. But of course, you know, half these people, they don't have any real world experience, right? They've never run a business or run an organization where you have to actually be honest on your taxes. Truth be told, like a quarter of every YouTuber and streamer I know, these motherfuckers aren't smart enough to actually save their money so they can pay taxes every year. But yet, you know, they actually can't comprehend the idea of IRS tax filings. That's probably got something to do with it, but so the whole thing comes down really to, was this malicious? Now, we really don't know if this was malicious because, I mean, there really isn't enough evidence to suggest that, like, Gerard was actively defrauding people and, like, taking their money under the idea, oh, you know, you're donating to charity, and then, like, he's going and buying a fucking new, like, lazy boy recliner for his house with it, right? That's not necessarily what happened here. But, I mean, he still, and his organization still, pocketed hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of fans' money for this charity account that has just sat there and has never been donated for anything, and it's just been sitting there losing fucking value in this bank account when it could be going to dementia research like everybody thought it was this whole time. I mean, just taking people's money and throwing it in your fucking charity account and doing nothing with it doesn't do anything to solve any sort of problems around the world, right? So, at the very worst, it could maybe be malicious if, like, more evidence came out to suggest that it was. As of right now, my personal opinion, I just think it was fucking mismanaged. I think this guy started the charity under, like, actually good intentions. You know, he got all this money coming in and whatever. Maybe it was too much time that it took to dedicate to it, or the people he was trusting weren't running it right. I don't know, right? I'm not going to sit here and pretend to know why this whole thing happened. But regardless, that money has been sitting in this account this whole fucking time, untouched, nothing being done with it other than it going to 125 grand to operating costs and whatnot, right? First off, what operating costs? Like, your company is not donating any money, you're not doing doing anything, what the fuck are you spending the money on? What operating expenses? So there's a lot of questions still. Like I said, at the very worst, maybe there was malicious intent or whatever, but there needs to be more evidence to really back that up first. As of right now, I think it was just like a horrific mismanagement of people's money. I mean, there really is no excuse either. Like, if it's taken too much time out of your day or whatever to run this, find somebody competent to run it, man. Get a fucking accountant to run it. It's not like you're not getting hundreds of thousands of dollars in donations. Like, if this is something you really want to focus on and do something for, put in the effort to fucking do it. And that's the problem, is YouTube audiences, they see shit like this, they see creators completely botch charity things like this, and it destroys the credibility and reputation of everybody else trying to do charitable shit. I mean, you know how many hundreds of comments I've seen over the years where people are unironically accusing me of stealing the fundraiser money off of my YouTube videos and saying I'm only doing it because it gets me extra money or whatever, when I literally never touch any of the fucking money at all. It goes straight through YouTube to the charity. And it's because of shit like this. Because there's been so many times online where creators have, oh, well, I'm doing this for charity, we're doing this for charity, right? And then they fuck everybody over, or they screw it up, and they ruin the credibility of everybody trying to help. So it's really just a shitty situation altogether, man. I mean, ultimately though, I will say, the money is still, as we know, in the account, and that means that, hypothetically, it all could still be donated. So if Gerard / the Open Hand Foundation still wants to do the right thing, I mean, that money could still be donated today. Like, they could go right now and dump that money into a fucking dementia charity like they should have already. But as far as we know, that hasn't been done. I assume it's probably going to happen. You know, like, there's no way you save any of this without doing that. But anyway, with that being said, thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like. Subscribe if you're brand new around here on the channel. Follow me over on Twitter and Twitch at @SubTheOptimus. Make sure to check out Shoptimus down below. Thank you to my Watch Optimus subscribers. Your support helps the channel tremendously. And until the next video, guys, this is Optimus, talking about Gerard's Open Hand Foundation situation and signing out.